Hello, Eight of Cups family. Welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot. I wanted to drop in and do a little bit of an eclipse special for you guys. I'm going to do specific readings for my last set of June readings, for most watched videos. So you guys, Cancer, Leo, Sag, and Virgos are all getting a bonus reading for the eclipse. But really quick, for everybody, I wanted to talk a little bit about this energy. I wanted to jump in mid-month for all of you in one way or another to talk about how important the energy is and how important it is for us to take advantage of this, to use it to our highest advantage, right? We can make so much progress if we look at this in a really positive way. There's parts of this that are going to be frustrating, especially for my fixed signs. We're going to want to keep things the same. We're going to have to be dealing with fear and instability. But the thing about this energy, that it's really more internal, and I've been saying this in my readings, all of these planets are going retrograde this month. This energy is truly internal. Now, for some of you, yes, you probably have some very real things happening in your life, you know, moving, new jobs, relationships, all kinds of chaos, breakups, get backs togethers. It's all kinds of crazy out there, but it's a result of what's going on within us. So it's a pretty good indication, because everything has this square to Neptune, making it so fuzzy and we can't really quite figure out what's going on. Can't really figure out who to believe or what to believe, or is this real? Do we have enough? Are we enough to do these big changes? Coming up with a lot of internal processes that we're breaking through, and the Saturn-Uranus square is urging us to find freedom from these things, which means we have to change our mindset. We can't change our lives without changing the way that we think, and that's why this Mercury retrograde in Gemini with this eclipse is all about our thought processes. How are we going to do things differently? We all want new stuff. We all want different lives. There's a lot of ways we were all really wanting this change to occur in our lives. Probably because there's some part of it, like, oh, if I could just have a different job, or if I just had a different house, or if I just found that right person, then all of life would be better. And the reason why you resonate with that is because there's a sense of freedom. Freedom from all of the things that we've been doing for way, way too long. So there's a combination of a priority shift, and there's a combination of a mental shift, and we start to see it immediately. These things manifest in our lives so quickly because everything's in these mutable signs, because everything's moving very fast, and because it's a very fated time period. Eclipses and Jupiter going retrograde in Pisces. This is a really amazing and beautiful energy if you allow it. Now, it's a different journey for all of us, and it's most likely pretty spiritual. You know, the spiritual awakenings, the new teachers that come into our life. And by that, I mean within relationships and job opportunities, you know, all of these things have a bigger lesson. And so I wanted to approach these particular readings in a pretty high level area. I want to work with some pretty conscious energy, and so it's not really a they feel this way and you feel this way love reading. We're going to dig into the dynamics and the history, and I'm only using Kim Krans decks, which is really exciting. I've got her Animal Spirit, her regular tarot, which is close to the Rider White, and we've got the archetypes. So we're going to really get into it. I'm excited for these readings. I've been looking forward to this for a while, and I do hope that you guys really enjoy. Please do not forget to like and subscribe the videos. We're working on opening up the channel. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. See you in a minute. Hello, Virgo. Welcome to Eight of Cups Tarot, and welcome to your bonus love reading. This goes from about mid-June until about mid-July, but honestly, I would put a good 3 more months on this for all of the energies to play out. We're in a strange time, in the middle of eclipse season, with all these planets going retrograde. And right now this week we've got Mercury finally moving direct, but we have Neptune and Jupiter both going retrograde. So things are still working out. And like I always say, you've heard me say 100 times, when these planets are all retrograde, it's more of an inside job before we kind of see the outward results. And I don't think that will really start to happen this year until probably like October through December. But right now is a really foundational time. It's an extreme, this is a time for epiphanies and breakthroughs, and figuring things out and overcoming a lot of obstacles. So it's not to say that nothing's happening. This is actually a really beautiful karmic time for a lot of the pieces to kind of fall into place within our lives, and there's like an understanding of why everything had to happen this way, or why maybe things had to get so bad before they got better. And most likely there are things within us. We've been going through such a tremendous healing time, such a healing phase, like as a collective. And there's definitely a culmination point. When Jupiter goes retrograde, the universe will test you. So we can expect that there's gonna be some stuff thrown at us. And the thing is, we've been asking for the things, right? Like, we want to get out of the bad jobs. We want to leave the bad relationships. We want to find the love of our lives. Like, we all have all of these desires and these wants. And a lot of us have changed our priorities, have changed what we actually wanted. And maybe there's stuff we've been chasing for decades, and suddenly we don't want those things anymore. There's a shift in our vibration, there's a shift in our personality, and therefore the universe kind of steps in and starts to make these other things like a possibility, starts to bring the people in, starts to bring in the possibilities. And then Jupiter goes retrograde, and there's gonna be a feeling of like, well, how bad do you want this? How much have you changed? Are you going to slip into your old ways? There's like portals to make huge leaps in progress, and there will still be some of us, right? There will still be some of us that choose to take the longer road. Like on a video game, well, I mean, I'm talking like 80s and 90s videos games where you could like go down a tube and all of a sudden you advance to another life, like cheat codes. Like, we get the cheat codes now if we want them, if our souls are ready. But in order for the universe to hand those to us, it's gonna test our willpower, our strength, and make sure that we're really like sovereign in ourselves before we could take these paths. If not, there's probably a few more karmic lessons and some stuff we need to do. It's not the end of the world, and there is nobody more patient than Spirit and the universe. Like, they don't care. You could do this for 100 lifetimes. So it's more about getting it right than like having to accomplish or move on to the next level. That's really the reason why this is so important. Now, really quick, what I've done here is I pulled a karmic card, kind of talking about the overall lesson of the situation that you're in. And then I pulled some energy for you, Virgo, and I've pulled some energy for the person or thing that you're dealing with. Now, I did specify that this is a love relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. This could be issues that you're having with a child or a parent or a boss or a coworker, like whatever it is to you. Now, oftentimes I just want to say that sometimes the energy comes in flip-flopped. So maybe this could be your person and you could be this person, Virgo. If it resonates that way, then let it happen. If this reading doesn't resonate at all, please check your other signs. These are general readings, so they are kind of for the person that needs to hear them the most. Please don't make the story fit. If it's not your reading, it's just not your reading. I certainly don't want to make anybody jump to conclusions or anything like that. All right, Virgo. So when I was pulling your cards, I have to say that there was kind of an odd anxiety that came over me. Kind of like this heart-pounding anticipation. It felt a little bit frightening, but at the same time also somewhat exhilarating. And I feel like we're coming to an end of a cycle. Now, the thing that I got here is the Eternal Child, card number 4, as the overall energy. And this does talk a lot to me about children in general. Maybe there is a child that that is in between these two energies, because it could talk about play and joy and the need to kind of be in a place of innocence, self-expression. Now, we do have Mars moving into Leo in your 12th house, so it's clearly going to pack a punch, okay? Super creative energy if you harness it correctly, but it can also be a little bit slippery, a little bit dangerous, right? The Eternal Child can talk about kind of living life hard, not wanting to grow up. Like there's a resistance to the growth and maturity process. Sometimes this card comes out and I feel as though one or the other partners are probably hesitating the whole grow up commitment kind of thing. You know, one person doesn't really want to be tied down, doesn't really want to face responsibilities in some way, maybe acting out childish. As well, sometimes this could talk about people acting out childhood wounds. And I don't know why, but I just get the feeling like there's this thing that you both bring into the relationship. This is not one or the other. But we kind of are like the essence of our childhood wounds, right? When we're in a not so great place in our relationships, we tend to bring those wounds out and we tend to project them onto each other's. Now, everybody's wounds are different. Some people feel abandoned, some people felt unheard, some, you know, like we all have our own stuff, like our own flavor of stuff that we bring in. And when we get into a negative point in our relationships, we tend to slip into these old habits. We tend to go into this childish form. If somebody fears rejection, then they pull their energy away. If somebody fears being tied down, then they probably act out, you know? If somebody feels like they're not getting enough attention, they might do the negative activities in order to get some attention. So there's that. And I think that this is an invitation from the universe that if you want the relationship to work, if you want this situation in particular to work out, there's probably a decent amount of growing that you both have to do. But it also talks about being more playful. So there might be a point where if you guys are not getting along, if you're having a hard time, it's probably better to go your separate ways, to fix your energy onto the things that you truly love and enjoy, your passions in life, you know? Sometimes if we're going through a rough time in our relationship and there's that like pressure to like talk all the time, make it work and go to therapy, and then all of a sudden fixing the relationship starts to feel like another job. And I don't think that either of you want to feel like your relationship is a job. The relationship should be something that is fun, that is exciting, that is playful, where you enjoy each other's company. You look forward to talking to each other. You look forward to spending time together, and it does bring you back to like that childhood wonder, like where there's all these possibilities, and it's a softer place. And sometimes you could do that together. Sometimes you could just find both of you, go back out on date nights, make it playful. You don't always have to talk about the big, heavy emotional stuff. And for some of you, this could be a sign that there's some issues with addiction. And I do say that specifically because we have the Devil card here next to the Ace of Cups. And this could be where maybe one person here is needing to kind of overcome some addiction issues. Now, it doesn't have to be substance abuse. There could be other addictions that are involved, other bad patterns and habits and behavior, negative thinking, negative talking. And I do get a sense, because this came out kind of in the overall energy between both of you, that this is like there's stuff that both of you need to stop doing. There's stuff that both of you need to leave behind. There's a better way to do things. And this Devil was a big part of all of my readings lately. It's been coming up a lot in my personal readings as well. And I think this has a lot to do with these planets, especially Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of Pisces. I do think that this is kind of like the spiritual test. Well, if you know what you want, if you know where you're going, if you know what this relationship, how you want it to look, how you want it to feel, then there's clearly some changes that have to be made. There's some obstacles that have to be overcome. And the Devil energy is what holds us back from having the better life. Sometimes the Devil is as simple as procrastination, not wanting to do the things that you really need to do. Sometimes it's a lot heavier. Sometimes it is an addiction. Now, over here, Virgo, and this is typically your energy, could be vice versa. Again, just a reminder. We have the Beaver, and with that, these two cards were kind of like really stuck together, so I took them both at the same time. And so I get the feeling that you in particular are dealing with a little bit of shadow energy here with the Vulture. So we have this Beaver card, and this is kind of a very Virgo-like card of like duty and responsibility, financial dependability and stability, being there for your family, being the provider. And the Beaver does the hard work, right? He's not afraid of hard work, especially if it's like for the greater good. And I feel like on some level, these are the things that are like really expected of you, which could mean that you feel like there's a lot of people asking a lot of you, Virgo. And there's something about this Vulture spirit that comes out underneath, like the underbelly, and I feel like this is kind of what's happening behind the scenes for Virgo. Like this is the front that you put on. This is a face that you show other people. Like you're holding it all together. You have a tremendous amount of energy. Everything's fine. And the Beaver's kind of like the fix-it. And there might be a part of you that truly thinks or believes that you can fix this. But I think subconsciously you know something has to go. Because the Vulture is a sign that there are dead parts of your life that need cleaned out. This could be the bad habits. This could be the addictions. This could be the negative thought processes. The vulture is predatory. It takes, it does not give. It lives on roadkill and scraps. And the energy is necessary, but it isn't pleasant. It isn't pretty to look at. You know, the vulture is an indication that there's a side of you, Virgo, that you maybe aren't showing. There's a side of you you would prefer that other people don't really see. But also when the vulture card comes out, it means that if something has to go, you have the ability to do it now. And it is an indication that there's an opportunity or a moment in time where if you were ever going to make these changes, the universe is supporting it now. And I think you know it's time. I think the people around you know it's time. And I do feel as though you'll have immense support. But first you have to understand that you cannot carry this energy together much longer. Now I say that because these are the cards that came out to clarify, and right away we have the Tower. And that's what I'm saying. Like this double life, this putting a smile on your face and pretending like everything's okay when inside, you know, there's an essence of like death. And I think you know that you can't do that anymore. And so I love that the Tower comes out next to the Ace of Swords. Well, this could be Virgo asking for help. This could be Virgo finally asking for support. And the Tower means some things have to come apart. Some foundations have to crumble. Because change is necessary. And we have the lightning bolts here and we have the lightning bolts here. It tells me that there may be some kind of a confession or some kind of a conversation that occurs that changes everything. And it has everything to do with clarity, and it has everything to do with honesty. And this vulture is very honest. And I think there's an opportunity for you to express this vulture energy to the people or a person that loves you. And here we have the Empress and the Strength card. Now I do want to point out here in these describing, in these clarifying cards, we got the Empress in your position and we have the Emperor here. So there's definitely a soulmate connection kind of energy, and it is high level as far as the connection. Now, the Empress card to me, and I just want to point this out really quick. Take a look at it. The Emperor coming from this side, which is kind of like, you guys are kind of like in this moon energy here. You've got the moon here. You know, the vulture's kind of like a darker energy. We've got these, and then like there's a little peak of sun here. And this is the cheetah, the person in your life is kind of like bringing the sun to you. And I see that because they have the sun here. So I feel like because you're coming out in the Empress energy, Virgo, you may be in a place where you need some help. This is a receiving energy, which means that if there are things that you require or you need, if there's support, emotional support, financial support, whatever it may be, you're in a place to receive. And you're in that place because I think you have the clarity to know what you want. You have the clarity to know what needs to go, what needs to be cleaned out. And here you have the Strength card. Again, Mars in Leo, man, I think it's like the most underrated transit that we're dealing with this summer. I think it's huge, this energy. And it's going to make some aspects to Uranus, and it's a really important energy because it makes all of us start to like just be who we are, to speak our truth, to express our needs. And because it's Leo energy, your 12th house, there's a great deal of compassion, but you know, with the Strength card, it's compassion for you. Compassion for yourself. These are like the hard things you need to do in order to make your life better. Now this person over here is coming out as a cheetah, and this is definitely a more masculine energy. Now that doesn't necessarily mean male or female, it has nothing to do with it, but it's an idea of like the solar plexus energy. Making decisions, and it could be impatience. This person might be applying a lot of pressure to you. Might be really pushing you, might be inspiring you. Like I said, there's this element of the sun that comes through the cheetah. And then we have the sun here, we have the sun here. But you are in the moon energy, and this person is the sun. And I think that this person desires you. They want you. And I think they're very strong-willed, and I think there's definitely a lot of fire, which means a lot of passion. They have the Emperor here in the center, again with the Sun card. This person is in a position to help. This person does have the strength, the direction, but I think their energy is probably a little misguided right now, right? Cheetahs are known for running. This person may appear to be leaving. You may be losing your opportunity here with them. You know, I say that because we've got the Eight of Cups, the Emperor, and the Ten of Swords. My Eight of Cups card is a leaving card, but see, the sun is down here on this card. Here's something that kind of caught my eye here. We've got the sun below the surface. We've got the moon. So this is the moon energy. And I think there's a little bit of mirroring going on here. This person is probably defensive towards what you're going through at this time. I just get the feeling that until this Tower, Ace of Swords moment, it might seem as though you're pulling away. There's a sense of you not really being very honest, not really communicating with this person who's probably very impatient. And I also get the feeling with this Eight of Cups card that they feel as though you are leaving them. Not quite sure that's the situation, but I think that that's how they see it. You're emotionally pulling away. And when they sense that pulling away, their defenses get kind of triggered into this Emperor, which is a very controlling energy. See, and because we have this Three of Swords down here, I feel like this person is very hurt. And there's a lot of sharpness here on their end. There's a lot of swords. There's a 10 of swords. You got the 3 of swords and then the Father of swords. See, this person has growing to do as well because they are so sharp. Now, the sharpness comes out of fear. It comes out of loss. It comes out of abandonment. But it is still sharp. And if you're going through some stuff, Virgo, that they're not real clear on, then you're setting them up for reactions that may not be so pretty. But there's an overwhelming feeling like this person feels as though this is over. They feel as if you're emotionally checked out. They feel as though they need to recreate their life, right? This is very creative energy. And they need to get a control over their life. And here we have the 10 of swords symbolizing the absolute end of something. And that may be something that they're communicating with you. Maybe they're letting you know that this is over, which could lead you to this Ace of Swords moment. I don't feel like that's the end of the story, though. Because here we have this 8 of Swords, Mother of Wands, and the Devil. And the feeling that I get with the Tower card and the Vulture is kind of like that ominous cloud. That thing you know that eventually is going to bust, and it busts. And it's like that moment that needed to happen. It's that thing that needed to happen in order to get it all out on the table. And maybe there's times when you have to lose something before you realize that the things that need to be changed are within you. If there's some kind of a behavior or a struggle that you're having that this person feels like, and especially with any kind of addiction or substance abuse, you know, not everybody understands that struggle. And so a lot of times you lie to cover up what's really happening, and they feel it as a rejection. You come off looking like you don't want to grow up. There's resentment between you two, but really there's no truth to what is truly happening. And the Tower and the Ace of Swords is an epiphany. It's a realization. It's like that moment that either you have to tell the truth, you have to ask for help, you have to make the change, because the Mother of Wands is like this tremendous inspiration. It's like when the worst thing happens in order to get you to change everything. And it sucks now, like it super sucks now. But you can get the chance to overcome this devil, this thing that's holding you hostage. That's what it feels like with the 8 of Swords there at the Devil. And the Mother of Wands is like this breakthrough. It's like that one thing. Look at it. She's protecting these eggs, these children. It's like the one thing that can get you to break this cycle, this power that this has over you. And here we have the Ace of Cups, the 3 of Swords, and the Father of Swords. Okay, so here's an interesting message, and I think this is more towards this person here. There's love. I think in their mind they want it to be over, but there is love. There's love on both of your parts. But I think this person understands that they can't change what you're going through. Because I see this Father of Swords as a separation, or like the emotional detachment. And I say that to everybody. You can't control another person's decisions. You can't make anybody change. Nor should you. Everybody has their own karmic path. Some people want to stay stuck. They can do it 100 lifetimes. And if there is somebody like that, there's no amount of words, right? Like 10 of Swords, this feels like exhausted communication. The feeling like you have to repeat yourself over and over, or ask, or, you know, and like having the same argument over and over again. And the Father of Swords is detached enough to know that it doesn't matter. It's detached enough to not take this personally, to separate from the heartache. Because with love comes the opportunity for pain. And when you open your heart to somebody, and I also say this all the time, if you're willing to love somebody, you can never do that without acknowledging the fact that there will be a need for forgiveness. Nobody's perfect. And for people to stay together and truly love each other, they have to be willing to go through the pain with you, go through the disappointments with you. Now, I'm not saying that because I want everybody to like stick with a toxic narcissist in their lives. This is a completely different story. But the best way for them to love you is to love themselves. Which means that if there is an ultimatum, or if they are leaving because you haven't gotten this thing under control, you haven't quite decided to go down the path that they want to go down. Maybe you want to stay single, stay uncommitted, and this person wants a family and a house and a white picket fence. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. And it's much healthier if they go get their white picket fence and you do the things that make you happy. And if you are dealing with some kind of an addiction issue or something that you have to overcome, them leaving is the best thing that could happen to you, because it has the power to be the wake-up call for you to improve your life. But the worst thing this person can do is inspire you to make the changes and then keep creating that situation of like nagging and telling you what to do. Because the Ace of Cups is unconditional. Ace of Cups is real love. The good, the bad, the ugly. Sometimes you just have to forgive. Sometimes you just have to move on. Sometimes you've got to give somebody space and time and love and hold space for them. But you never stay small. You never stay stuck. You have to move on. When something's over, it's over. The Father of Swords has enough wisdom to know where expectations will get you. And that self-respect and dignity and good communication will be much more rewarding than staying in situations that are harsh. All right. right, Virgo, I am going to leave it there. That was kind of an emotional read. Please know that if you are inspired at any time in the next few weeks to really make some changes in your life, if you are somebody that's dealing with an addiction issue, it is a wonderful time for the universe to really support you in letting go of that stuff. And I think if you were to start the process, you would find so much support. The Strength card, the Empress card, the universe wants you to decide that you're ready. Wants you to get going on the rest of your life. And that this other stuff is just symptoms of what you need to do inside of you. The healing that you need to do inside. And when it's time, when you're ready, when this devil energy is slayed, the rest of the pieces will fall together. All right, Virgo. Beautiful reading, guys. I love you so much, and I will see you soon for the July readings. Have a great week, guys. Bye.